the culture in my family specifically, I'm expected to have really high grades, like over 90% most of the time. That's not a grade usually people get here, because you're expected to get like 70%, and that's a good grade here, like that's very good. But my parents would not understand that, and I show them my grades. It's like, why are you getting 70%? And it's really good. I'm like, no, you don't get it, it's good. So, I mean, just the way the grading system is different is really, I mean, that impacted me, because I also felt bad personally on my first times when I was getting like these low percentages. Then I understood that I was actually really good. But I was trying to work extra hard and then trying to do way more than I actually needed to do.
One of the differences is that in Slovakia, the learning and teaching is theory-based, whereas here it's much more practical, which is a good thing. I do appreciate it, because I feel like with that, we are more prepared for real life in a way. So it wasn't very difficult to get used to it. In Slovakia, you make your own timetable, whereas here you are given a timetable and you can't really do anything about it, which is maybe a disadvantage in the UK, because sometimes I have a class at 9 in the morning and then at 5 in the evening. But in Slovakia, you can make your own timetable. You choose the time yourself. Basically, maybe you can get all the modules you want because of that, but yeah, there are some disadvantages and advantages to that system as well.
Based on personal experience, I do feel like in terms of like knowledge, like you have to take a lot more general knowledge in the Vietnamese education system compared to the British one.
Basically, I think everywhere the expectation of academics basically like high standard. Of course, like everywhere is the same, but like compared with UK and like Hong Kong's, Hong Kong is like much more pressure since we're in kindergartens. We need to learn a lot of habit. We need to like learn different language. At least every people in Hong Kong, we learn like at least 3 language, like Mandarin, Cantonese, and English. It's not the like exceptionals. Everything is basic. Everyone needs all the requirement, because you need to competitive with each others. Like just from the like, no matter when you're secondary school, high school, or even on kindergartens, like everything is so structured up, and you need to follow the syllabus to get higher marks. You're not required to have like exceptional ideas or exceptional like opinions of the issue, because it's not that allowed it. It just say that if you want to get high marks, you need to follow the rules. So every person just keep on the rules, keep on the structure to doing that things. I think some of us like losing our critical thinking, losing the like, is that right? Is that true to doing this? Like this kind of expectation or this kind of perspective. But like in UK, because I think this is a university, like it's much more open-minded. He's just like so welcome for you to share what's your thing about.
The teachers will just tell you what you exactly have to know. And if you ask question, I mean, some of them they like it, but some of them they'll be like, don't ask this, just remember it, just memorize it. But in the British academic culture, I think because the academic expectation is that you have to have your own independent thinking and have your critical analysis, that's why they will expect you to ask question and speak. I remember one of my professors was saying that I hate people not speaking in the seminar. But when back to my home, I think many of the teachers, they will find it more easy when students not asking questions, because they feel like it's making the job more difficult.
If I were to compare this, like, academic expectations and teaching methods to my home country, I would say we mainly relied on the face value which is given to us. So let's say if we've been given an article or like a book, we would just be, encouraged to just read what is given to us and not think outside of the box. And that is really weird to me if I look at it now, because here there's loads of emphasis on just learning by yourself, critical evaluation, critical thinking and stuff, just doing pre-lecture reading, doing case studies, reading like business cases, coming to the seminar and like participating with the other international students. And this is what got me to, you know, become an independent learner, to just rely on yourself. So I would say the teaching methods are, you know, quite different because I wasn't really used to case studies and stuff. So we were just supposed to look at what notes we've gotten and we would just build our knowledge up on that. But now when I look at the different articles and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I can really, you know, make my own assumptions and stuff. I can back my claims by like providing evidence and stuff. So there's loads of expectations on whether you can make your own claims or not, or just do what the researcher has done. So I think the professors would appreciate if any student does their own research and stuff, though. So that's the main expectation, I would say.
I do find the readings more challenging. I also do find them more rewarding as well. I like to read. I do feel like I'm learning a lot more in way less time, and that is really I feel that's really rewarding, and I find it very interesting. I feel it's so much knowledge gain and very. I remember because sometimes I do study some things that I already know, and it's like revising. But I remember that in, for example, business, which I already studied, I get this theory that I studied for weeks, and then they gloss it in, they cover it in half a class year, and then you're expected to read about it as well. I find that kind of challenging, but it's also really good because I get to learn so much more, so much faster. We are 2 months into studying now into university. It's my first year, and I already covered almost what I covered in my first year of the IB diploma in business. I'm like, okay, I guess that after 2 more months, I'm gonna cover everything else, and I'm gonna be learning so much more, so much faster, which is a lot more challenging, but it is very rewarding to feel that way.
The importance of mental health in the UK. I don't think we have that in Slovakia. People don't really care. So here you can contact the well-being services, you can contact your personal tutor, another thing that I don't think is in Slovakia. Also the reading week, which should be for reading, but you can take it for a little mental health break as well. I think that's great, and I think that what makes our studying here even more productive, because the term or one semester is shorter than it is in Slovakia.
Pretty challenging. So on average, every week I am required to read about 40 to 50 pages across my 3 modules. Okay, maybe it's not that much, but I mean, most of those texts are extremely convoluted, and some of it are pretty pretentious as well. So being able to take in all of that, not to mention understand all of that, is the biggest challenge. Because for me, as someone who is speaking English as my second language, I'm having difficulty with that. And not only me, but for other local students who English is their first language, they also have a hard time trying to take in all of the ideas from the reading.
In UK, just require you to be a more responsibility person and also independent person. So they will not so require this for you to that you need to read your reading list, but he or she expected you read all the reading lists. During the classes, the tutors or lecturers would not explain that too much about the professional terms, because he or she expected you have already know that based on the reading list. So I think this may be the differences. Just definitely talk about why it is called the terms like this, when it invent the works, what happens to influence the cultures or everything. But in UK, he just saying the professional work. Okay, you got that right. Just keep following by the next pages of the lectures. So I think this is the differences. Expected you need to be so independent and responsible for all your academic works.
As I said, in my home, it's all about memorizing. You just have to write the answer of what the teacher have told you, and you can get a high mark, high grades. But in the UK, You will have to do your own reading, own research, and get your points, get your argument in order to get a mark to show that you have a critical thinking and analyzing skill, which is rewarding because you know how you think about this stuff. You can express what you truly think. But it's also challenging because you have to do more work, like you have to rethink about it and do more reading and have to overcome those difficult readings and difficult concepts.
So I'd say from my perspective, the most important aspect is, both challenging and exciting as well. So coming from my country, I've never actually experienced like collaborating with another international students. It would just be like local students. So when I've come here, it's really difficult to, sit with like 5-6 international students and talk with them. So because there's obstacles like language barriers, the way people, interpret things, the way people express themselves, the way people understand stuff, and, the willingness as well. So it all really comes down as to how you can deal with these challenges. It honestly, for the first 2 weeks, I was, I was finding it really difficult to just talk to everyone and just come to a conclusion. But now, as I've learned, it's really important that if I work with like international students, it would be really, promising for me for a, professional career and stuff. So these qualities would be, beneficial for future when I have to present some information to hundreds of international students or stuff. So it's really, building my base for that.
What I appreciate is personal tutors. It is academic, it is personal, it is for anything and everything really. So if I have a problem, I go to them.
International students would have extra support with their English skills mostly, but not only English skill, but also like essay writing skill. And not only for international students, but like their supports varies to like all students who needs any sort of help. So I find that pretty helpful.
In UK, like they're so take care of like international students, which are not non-native speaker in English. So I think I got a lot of help during like the first year, the second year in those, like with the essay writing stuff, like the grammar stuff, even like the writing one-to-one meeting. So I really love the like support like this because like you didn't so familiar with the language because this is our second language, but like Newcastle University just make me feel like they tried give all her best or all his best to try like help me for all those things.
I think for me, because I'm in a very small department, music is a very small department with very small cohorts. That's why we often get at least one tutorials from each module, so that it is really good that we can go to talk about our essay ideas or what. And usually professor always sets up office hour so that we can always book into the office hour whenever we have question and we need their help, which is really, really great. And also we got a student support plan if you have disability or any specific learning needs. They are really supportive, which is really great. And yeah, but in my home, I think there are less support on disability support, I would say. One thing is that teachers are also happy to answer questions if you find them. But back to my home country, people don't really find teachers to ask questions because, as I said, the culture of learning is just memorizing. People don't really want to know the thing itself.
For me, it's like I love this academic skill support for citation because the first year I came here, I don't even know what a citation mean. Like in university, we're using Harvard style one, and I totally lost of all my knowledge about it because I don't read how to cite even the in-text citation or the reference citation. I was so confused on my first year, so I definitely kept searching how to citation the website, how to citation the journals, like in Newcastle universities. I think they're quite a great support because it showed me like all the formats of citations.
For me, I really like the drop-in one-to-one that I have done because you can bring a piece of work that you might find it a bit difficult for you, and you can ask the academic advisor about, they can teach you how to evaluate the question, like what aspect, what routes you can go for to answer that question. Comparing to my home, it was less complex, the questions I was asked to do in the exam. So basically, we would just have to clarify what they have said when we are asking teachers, and teachers are just here to clarify what they have said. While in the UK, teachers, or the academic tutor here in the library, they are trying to give you the directions, a few directions that you can choose to answer your question. And so the difference is, in the UK, they want to make you know how to think, but in Hong Kong, they want to teach you exactly what you have to do.
Personally, I like the aspect where you're encouraged to critically read, think, and write. So honestly, I would say when I first came here, my writing was really not good. But as I've went to the academic skill set on the university website, I've learned that you could actually use a lot of different references and stuff and make your writing and thinking capabilities higher. So you could just go through stuff on the academic skill set and find different tips and tricks which you could use in gaining more information on websites and stuff.